Alright, here we go. Just get this out there. I have not played any of the Oblivion DLCs. In fact, this was just going to be like a Skyrim faction tier list. Did I remember? I can play Oblivion now, so um might as well go back and play some of those. And I played all of them, but the Fighters Guild one because, well, um mess up in saving, unfortunately. So I'm going pretty much by old memory. And what else was there? For Skyrim, I didn't do the what's it called? The tribunal thing. I'll probably do it eventually, but I ain't do it yet. Anyway, let's go. Okay, it starts with, of course, just gonna put them both as two things. The Civil War. Well, how I'm going over this is pretty much characters and the levels themselves. Characters, levels, story. I guess for story, it is something that it has lore, and by lore I just means there's a lot that goes into it. It is pretty detailed of why these two factions have a conflict. So there's a lot in terms of lore, that's a positive. Story, well, nothing particularly deep. One side hates the other. There's actually there's no real twists and turns. There's no learning anything different. It's just like you defeat this team, and that's pretty much it. Now, characters, I would say, um, mm, you know what? For the Stormcloak side is pretty strong, I would say, in terms of characters. Well, not pretty strong, fairly strong. We got, I think his name is Brynjolf, whatever the guy's name is that does the hey you there in the beginning. Yulfric, he got his speeches and generally I would say pretty solid voice acting. And you got his second in command there, and his speeches, his thoughts, and basically they're all, in my opinion, honestly, I would have been. It really needed more sort of reactions to winning the war. There really wasn't enough, in my opinion. But overall, I'd say they're solid characters. And on the other side, you have General Tullius, a stoic general type. I never much cared for the Nord girl. She's pretty much there to sort of help with the customs, help her with customs and understanding Norse. That's pretty much her job there. They found it, but Tullius fits the mold of a stoic soldier man. Though you can argue that the legends, um there's a line where he goes, "I must contain my evil nature." I believe it says for General Tullius, which is again adds another layer to General Tullius's thought process. But beyond that, what? First, let me actually get to the levels. The levels, in my opinion, the highlights are, of course, invading territories, invading the invading fortresses, and those are generally fun and sort of um they're fun. They feel big, like invading, and there were apparently more of it. There's a lot of stuff that was removed for Civil War. A lot of stuff they just end up failing, not doing. Like it's pretty darn. You can pretty much ignore the war, pretty much, unfortunately. But what is there is not the deepest thing in the world, but it has kept the attention of the fans and kept people caring about the outcome for for a decade, pretty much. And that, in my opinion, means something. And the fandom's choice of who they go for pretty much goes back and forth and depends on who has the best meme at the time. So, honestly, I would have to give, for all that, I give it an A. The arena. Now, the arena level, again, you just come in, you fight a character. They're usually pretty easy, because honestly, it's the first thing I do. Which, honestly, is, to me, that really does show just how fun the arena is, at least for me, because it is the first thing I do when I play Oblivion in a new playthrough is go to the arena. And every single time I go through the dialogue between the now there's something about, even though like, I think the red team, you're the blue team, the red team's the bad one. The red team, that one character that makes a comment every time you upgrade, I talk to her all the time. For some reason, it's sort of like interesting motivation for me to keep going. Also, I like pretty much everyone in that little stable. They're not the deepest characters in the world, but they are amusing enough. So I would give the arena, mm, just on fun factor, I give it a. Dark Brotherhood, I believe this is Oblivion. Goodness gracious. What can you say about the again Dark Brotherhood and Oblivion? It is a step above every single quest in Oblivion and Skyrim easily. Just from the characters, the quests, and the story. It has everything you could want. It's like the mansion level alone in its creativity is it's so good that it should probably be copied in one way or another in every single Elder Scrolls game after that. Like they should have looked at that mansion level and said, "You know what? Let's do this again, and let's add a little more twist and turns to it in the next game." Like, yeah, what people thought they had reason using ideas, sure, but it would be magnificent. But yes, there's just so much. You can really just make an entire video on why this faction, these sets of quests are so awesome. Just the characters, the twists, the story, the levels. Ah, so good. It's S tier, easily S tier. This I almost the symbol almost didn't recognize, but it is the Dawn Guard. Dawn Guard, which you have. Honestly, the only character I really recognize from the Dawn Guard is Israel, and Israel, that orc that greets you. There's that woman you recruit, and then there's the guy that brings his paws axe. But Isron is really the only character you can kind of remember from that group. I don't remember the levels themselves being particularly special. And honestly, the very last little bit between the quest, the soul cairn, and that like snowy era is just a slog. Like I pretty much I almost don't even finish the quest too much, and I almost just do the side stuff. Now, that being said, Isran, great voice acting there. Um, strong character, deep layered. He definitely shines there. Hmm. Beyond that, I can't really say too much. Oh, they got they got trolls. You got trolls you can hang out with. Next one is the, again, unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get to play much of it, the Fighters Guild. I'm just gonna put that in, uh, s- uh, C. Yeah, but in C. The Mages Guild. Oof. The Mages Guild for the Oblivion. Yeah. It's not very good. Like, coming into it, I forgot the whole you have to talk to every province and every province and you have to do these little quests to advance. Like, of course they don't have a linear thing to them. So you're just doing random quests that generally aren't that interesting, don't really lead to a whole lot, and then we finally start to get something going, you finally get accepted. Even then the quests aren't great until you finally I will say this. The vampire character that you interact with the story for a little bit, he's cool. He's cool. But yeah, and then you get Metamarco, and it's just again, it's been said, but just an absolute waste of a villain. Absolute waste of such a good, such a deep lore, important character. Goodness gracious. Like, there's some choices I don't like that they did with him in Oblivion, no, not Oblivion, in online, but it's even that's it did a heck of a lot better in ESO than Oblivion did. Ah, man. The, the only like it's one of those things like lore makes a lot of the quests, a lot of the background. Like, so learning the lore actually makes quests better in the Elder Scrolls game. This is the case where lore makes things worse and disappointing. The only thing about Marco and Oblivion is technically there's a good strong chance you get a glitch where he is actually invincible. And what I had to do was basically drown him, turn invisible and push him down water to drown him. So, ugh. Yeah, it's a D. I almost should make an F for it, really. It's just not good. Okay, the Thieves Guild in Oblivion. This was okay. Starting with characters. Mm, not, actually, yes. There are memorable characters in here. Besides the first guildmaster guy you meet, the story about, well, not story, the incidents that you have with the guard that's trying to capture the gray fox and like that's actually pretty entertaining stuff. And I do like most of the special quests where you have to go out and steal. But more than that, I really like the lore and and learning what exactly is the gray fox and the gray fox cowl and how it relates to everything. It really brings like a really tragic um element to the story. Like the gray fox is a tragic character. Like the character is flat out cursed. Well, technically you do, though. Technically you do lift the curse in the end. But what he said about I can yell. He said I yelled my name of who I was, and you just looked confused and like, wow. So like this is a powerful and deep curse, and it's a great idea. It's a really interesting thing in my opinion. The gray fox cow. Like in a way you almost have your identity stolen. stolen and replaced with a mythological being, pretty much. So yeah, for that, I think it's a solid, very solid B. The companions. Now, characters. I like all of the characters there. Is I do think it's not Isran, but I guess the not leader of the companions, and his story about and his thing about wanting to turn to the afterlife, his afterlife. I like the female character. I like the brothers. The dumb you got the dumb one and the the dumb strong one. And you got the smart one, and yeah. And I do like the first thing you see you go and come in is two characters fighting, and later on in the quest, later on in the story, like that base gets attacked, and person and one character is harmed. The person you see taking care of them, is one of the characters they were fighting. So I like that element of it. The only and the werewolf. How could I forget the werewolf stuff? Oh yes. Being a werewolf honestly sucked ass originally, but they actually, I believe, probably during the probably it was around the DLC for Dawn Guard, it gave it its own sort of skill tree, and if you really, I guess, max out all the little werewolf stuff, you can be kind of OP. So they really did pretty well with the werewolf stuff. Mm. Oh, and there's always in the first transformation stuff that there's always looks to look forward to. Like how many people can you kill before it fades to black? The biggest downside with the companions, however, is the enemy faction, the what is it called? The Silver Hand. You like maybe you get more in lore, and if you actually have read the notes and novels, you actually get a deep understanding of them. But honestly, and there was nothing particularly interesting about it. It was just kind of hunters that that may actually be sort of good in their own way, just a little rash. But yeah, they needed way more exploring on the Silver Hand. But beyond that, and oh yes, and levels and the quests, I should say, and a little, I guess, fetch questy. Not fetch quest, but just go here, kill that. It is some like 20% of it is just straight filler, just straight up filler quests, which you can do that one time because you as because if the character is new, but no, not more than one time. Okay, but so overall, I give it and I will say that so yes, in terms of story, like say, is doesn't have a good strong ending impact, but the werewolf stuff I think brings it a little bit ahead. I'll put it behind that. The Magus Guild in Skyrim is not much to write home about. Well, not Magus Guild, the College of Winterhold. No, I guess I could say I like the eye stuff around the Eye of Magnus, and they have strong characters. Everybody likes Jazargo, I believe that's his name. The students really in most of the masters are generally fun little characters, not particularly deep or anything. Like it's like the Mages Guild in Skyrim is fine. So it's C. Alright, what take is this? I kept going back there, but I kept forgetting. You know what? What was this again? Shoot. The Thieves Guild? Oh yeah, this is the Skyrim Thieves Guild. Now, in terms of characters, there's a recruiter, there's the Mercer Frey, and then you have the Dark Elf chick. The 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 story between Mercer and the Dark Elf is interesting enough. You get the twist of the story. There's pretty much the twist that he is a traitor, and he did so to unlock the great power that is the key. It sucks that, that you have to, you know, give up the key. Though I think a lot of people they just get the key and like I'm just not gonna finish the quest. That's what I've always said. And then you give your soul to a data. Wait, what? What? Why would they agree to that? I get that Mercer is probably incredibly powerful, but you know, giving your soul to a demon, despite never being religious before, nah, come on. What else can I say? Oh yeah, and I forgot. They actually all the other small characters and their quest and all that kind of little stuff in the Thieves Guild. I think there's just enough small stuff that makes it a generally okay. I put it somewhat below the Thieves Guild at Oblivion. I feel like I'm terrible at detailing things now, so I probably should have thought my reasons before I did this, but whatever. And the Dark Brotherhood Skyrim. You know, I think some people look down on the Dark Brotherhood quest in Skyrim be because they're looking at the Dark Brotherhood quest in Oblivion and comparing the two. You should not. Like that is, I think it's almost unfair. Like again, the Dark Brotherhood quest in Oblivion is just on a whole other tier compared to everything else. Trust me. But in and of itself, I believe it's a solid, it's a generally good faction. And you in Oblivion, you basically got the Dark Brotherhood as it is. In Skyrim, you got it on his last leg, and you basically almost don't even have the Dark Brotherhood. You pretty much have mercenaries, and it's almost a very slow story of rebuilding, of becoming the true Dark Brotherhood. That's where you get characters like Cicero. He's definitely one of the stronger characters with some strong voice acting, personality coming in, and like all the every the only downside, the only characters that could um I wish I got to see more was probably that dark elf girl and the last of the shadow skills. It's a shame that he kind of died, and we didn't get much of him. Really, you could have used a lot more of all of the Dark Brotherhood characters, but for what we got, they're all fun, interesting, dark characters in their own way. But yeah, and Astrid, honestly, I think you can argue in a way Astrid might be perhaps the deepest character in either of the the Dark Brotherhood factions in either game. Between her and I guess the final villain, you can say, in Lucy in Oblivion. So yeah, I would definitely give that the Dark Brotherhood and Skyrim a strong A. Oh yes, these guys technically count. Technically, D. You know what? Even they weren't quite as annoying as some of the stuff in the freaking Mages Guild in Oblivion. But honestly, yeah, you joined a Mages Guild, and this first thing you do is go to a freaking a crypt to hunt for a verse. So it might as well just be a little side quest. Yeah, this is something they could have done with the bards, but nothing interesting came of it. And now the vampire clan. Now, in terms of characters, you of course you got Serena, and you got the main baddie himself, whose name escapes me, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I think it's Harkon. No, that's like the god. So yeah, this guy, the characters, they're pretty. I think they're kind of almost everything you could sort of want out of a vampire. Of course, you got the sort of the big thinking leader type guy with things on a mass scale, and you got the underlings that are they're just straight evil. They're just evil vampires that send you on little quests, and they have little evil dogs to help you. They die pretty easy. They're pretty weak companion to those dogs, but they're there. They're good for background. But more importantly, what you get is a cool vampire form. And you get Serena. The cool vampire form and Serena. I think in the quests that you go on, the little side quests that take you on, aren't particularly interesting. Honestly, talking about the quests with the NPCs is probably more interesting than the quests you give these guys. But overall, I liked it, so I give it a B. Well, those are my thoughts and opinions. Tell me yours in the comments. What is your favorite Oblivion? Tell me. I even said Oblivion right there. Okay, so we all know the Dark Brother quest is the best. We all know that. But beyond that, how would you personally rank the Oblivion and Skyrim quest, and what really um makes them and what personally makes you put one over the other? Like I said, to me, it's about the story, the characters, and the quest. So mostly, it's all around pretty even for me between Skyrim and Oblivion. So, tell me your thoughts in the